Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM. I am so grateful. So Lorilei Potvin, my fellow UPRN host of the Angel Rock on Mondays and the Thing at the Foot of the Bed with her co-host David Hansel on Thursday evenings, is hanging out with us tonight.
Yes. So excited. So excited.
Love it.
Thank you for having me.
Would you mind sharing a little bit of your background for people that may?
Yes, it's much easier. So everybody, yes, I'm getting to be one of the oldie moldies on UPRN now. Hi, Michelle Plummer. I see you. I met Michelle because of you. Anyways, I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki, energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, registered nurse. I've been told I can't say budding animal communicator anymore by my mentor, Julie Jean Bassett. So animal communicator, well-versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler. And I've studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years and extremely well-versed in the paranormal. I always say we didn't go looking for it. It found us. And we've shared some of our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor, Season 4, Episode 9, called Demonic Hauntings. An interesting fact, I did not know Michelle DeRoche then. I did not get to speak to her. And she actually comments on our episode. I've gotten to know her and become friends with her after. Small world.
And then now she's like the station manager, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and the Outer Realm. She's got Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hi, James. Relax, everyone. The wizard has arrived. That's awesome.
Hi, James. I did. You know what? When I first seen him, does he say Gerrar? Is that, I never knew how to say his
Gerrar? Yeah.
Yes. He's got such a cool sense of humor, but I don't know how to take it at first. But he's awesome. Everybody in your chat.
It's pretty laid back. Hi, Julie. Thanks for being here.
Hi. Contessa said, good evening to my favorite ladies. We love you too, Contessa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. Hi, Tammy. Thanks for being here.
And you got Heidi Goal, I think, below up at the top. I hope I said that right, Heidi.
Mm-hmm. Hi. From Boulder.
From where?
Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Jody.
Hi, Jody. Oh, James is telling me I said his name correctly. Or Gerrar James. I said his name correctly. Kerrilynn, I got to tell you, you have the best ideas because Kerrilynn and I, we're finally going to get to meet like at the beginning of October, first weekend.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I'm beyond excited.
So Lorilei and I are both participating in the Lake Superior Paracon in Thunder Bay, which is where Lorilei lives. And it's the first Paracon, or second, I guess. First with Lucky Paranormal. Lucky Paranormal is hosting it. And we'll both be speaking and all kinds of fun stuff going on. So we will be meeting in person. So watch for lives because we'll be taking pictures and going live and doing all that fun stuff.
I know you're probably going to be tired when you come in on the Thursday, but David and I are live. And I said, depending on what Kerrilynn's doing, if she's probably not settled and they'll probably just be getting in, but if she does get in early and she's just hanging around, David already said, yep, if she's open to it, we're having her on our show Thursday night.
Yeah, it sounds fun. Like I can't wait.
We could do it in person together. I'm not that far from you. We're probably where you're staying. I'm not asking on air, but I think I know where you're staying. It's not that far from where I live.
Well, it's so fun. And I think I said it today that I didn't feel like I was Paracon ready yet, but it's my brain going in all kinds of different directions. And I just need to trust that I've got what I need done. Oh, listen to my Bruce barking.
Hi, Bruce. I was actually making things, and we were talking about that before we went live, that we have all these great ideas, right? And you've seen me send you messages going, now I want to make this, and now I want to make that, and now I want to make this. I was painting little tiny pumpkins and Frankensteins and ghosts and little black cats. And then if anybody has a tier tray, you know, those different layers you put out for the season, go on there. I don't know how many I'll get. I'll probably only have one or two because I've been making so many different things.
I think I just need to chill.
Yeah.
Hi, Denise. Thank you for being here with the whole, with all of that.
Hi, Denise.
It's, yeah, I think I've done as much as I possibly can, and now I just have to go in and be able to have fun with it, right?
Yep, same thing.
Hi, Heather. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Heather.
What else? So I do have a few things coming up. I'm just going to mention it now because I know that once we get rolling with our conversation, we're going to go sideways. So I think that I don't have very many tickets. I think it's like over 90% sold for the Love Life Afterlife at the St. Thomas Princess Avenue Playhouse. It is a former church. It is definitely haunted. The Ontario Paranormal Society. So Grant Evans, he's been on a number of times. He's coming back on in October. He'll be back on. So their team is doing an investigation there before my event as well too. They're doing a fundraising event. So it'll be exciting to have him on so we can both talk about that theater because it's definitely haunted. So that's coming up October 19th. And at the end of this month, I know I have not done a very good job promoting it online because my brain has been in all kinds of different directions. But I am teaching a psychic protection class online September 29th on a Sunday on a private Facebook page. So if you connect with me through the website, we can get you all the information and sign you up, and it will be a fun and informative and interactive kind of class.
You're an amazing teacher. I'm checking it out because I know I learned things. We learn from each other all the time, but you really are an amazing teacher, and the information and the techniques that you share. A lot of people, I'm telling you, you'll learn a lot.
It's Heather Stewart McLaughlin. Is it okay if I kind of like can I share something that you said that I think about? Because that's how, you know, when I'm having one of those days. Thank you, Melody. Thank you. She's just saying she signed up already. And
awesome.
So I taught a divination tools class last summer. I think it was last summer. And thank you, Heather. And Heather has this amazing place that she's opened up on her property called Come Into the Forest. And it is like a holistic center that she created on her property through the woods. So all kinds of wonderful things that she's going to have going on there. So she came to do this divination tools class. And I always do the over the top. And sometimes it does come from that place of maybe not enough, right? In that ego space. And she's like, that was like 3 master classes in one. She said, I had to go home and process the whole thing, right? So
that's what you want to hear.
Yeah, because it's just a lot. Hi, Tammy. Thank you for being here.
That's so cool.
So I am doing a signs and symbols class in December as well too. And that signs and symbols class, I'm going to talk about lots of people ask, why can't I? Why aren't I getting the signs? Or I'm looking for these signs. So the reasons why and how we can maneuver through some of that, the different ways. And then we'll do like a guided meditation and connect in that way. So
I just got a meditation from a friend of mine. We have a group that we get together. I've talked about it on a lot of my shows. We represent 5 different countries, but she actually, somebody had said or shared in our little Facebook chat group, and she shared a message. She's a medium, and she connects with what she calls the collective, the center of A. It was the most incredible meditation, especially for people that are just getting into spirituality. So I asked her permission if I could use it, because I want to share it, because I think it really helped people that are just
very nice. And we're just waiting. No pressure, but waiting for your classes. And
well, I'm hoping the new year. I was hoping at the end of October. I have it all planned. I'm just looking for I want to have a space where I can, because it's not going to be a one-day thing, and I think it's going to be once a week. It may be, I've got, I think, 32 different things I could teach a class on, but some of them I think I can amalgamate. So it won't be 32 weeks long, but it's probably going to be a couple months long. So
That's awesome.
It's coming. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hi, Deb. Thanks for being here. So tonight, I wanted to have fun. I wanted to have a relaxed conversation. I wanted to have everyone in the chat join in the conversation as well too. So I let my brain go in all kinds of directions.
That's where I was going at the beginning of this, because we chatted before and you were asking me and I went, oh my gosh, I love these questions. The best ideas and questions, things that I've never really been able to either chat with somebody else about or haven't even thought about. And I'm going to give you kudos, because the first time I was on your show and she asked me if I'd mind if we got silly or anything, I go, yes, anything, let's have fun. And she asked me who my fangirl crush was on in the paranormal world, and I never thought about it, and I've never forgotten that. I've mentioned it on many shows I've been on too, because I think it was so cool you asked that.
Hi, Wilma. Thank you for being here. So yeah, and I think like that would be a conversation that we would have in private, right? So why not like extend it out and incorporate that with everyone else, right? So in my all over the place, one of the first things that I wrote, because some people know, not everyone's going to know now, that I have a fascination and a love for octopus, like as a creature, as a being. I've read so many different books. The Soul of an Octopus is My Teacher the Octopus on Netflix. Is that what it was called? Oh, it's
You're
very.
Gonna have to send me that name if I can't remember. Now I got to check it out.
I'll write it. It's very moving. Did anybody in the chat watch it? I think I said it right.
You know who you're going to love that I think I shared her with you, but if I haven't, and anybody else, her name, I can never say her name properly on YouTube. It's peculiarly. So peculiar. I can't even say that word today. Peculiarly Ashley. And what she does is she upcycles things and turns them creepy, not gross, but creepy.
Right.
And every single one of her pieces practically has to have an octopus and a circle window. And she constantly, she tells stories as she's creating, and she always works her husband in, who doesn't think that we need a circle window, but I can put circle windows in here. And of course, we must have an octopus. Every one of her pieces almost does.
Yes, I think an octopus should be everywhere. I've got them everywhere, and
that's so
including
cool.
one in a little jar. So, and my tattoo, and look, I
did not know that about you. Oh, I love your cup.
Yeah. Ooh. Look, and so I have iced tea in it, folks.
I just grabbed my Halloween.
It comes through. So, do you think that? Oh, look at spooky.
Yeah.
So whether it's my spirit animal or not, I think spirit animals kind of go. But what if the connection is like? What if they are so smart and they're magical, brilliant, and intelligent and intuitive?
Do you watch The Boys?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Deep had a whole relationship with an octopus.
I just can't go in that direction in my head.
I'm not, but
it's just so bad. But are they aliens? Like, are they aliens? Like where are they aliens? Maybe that's the connection. I feel like I'm from somewhere else, or maybe I know that.
Apparently, other invertebrates are somewhat intelligent but that has been the big thing within science, and I'm a big science geek too. I truly believe, when I feel into it, as well as from their behavior, the problem solving they can do, and the things I have seen octopuses do are just brilliant. And to me, don't they have 8 brains, I think, too? I think they do. They have more than one brain.
It's just everything about them is so different, right? Like it's beyond. I just think they're so magical. And when I got my tattoo, which is like this big huge octopus with the lady in the middle, then I found this art book for artisan dolls. And I found in this book was a doll with an octopus on her head, and it looked like my tattoo as a living doll, or as a doll, not a living doll, but as a doll. They have 9 brains.
I thought it was 8. So thank you, Heather. I knew they had quite a few brains. I knew they did. It sounds incredible, this picture you saw.
Yeah, I'll see if I can. I think I have the book still on my dresser, because it was the doll was my tattoo, and I hadn't seen that doll or the magazine until after. But I think that they are.
You think they're alien too? Well, ET. I think they are ET, because even when you look at other invertebrates, so crabs, squid, we could go on and on and on. None of them even physically are built the same way. And like octopuses can walk, they can swim, they can live out of water, they can live
camouflage. They blend in wherever they are.
The problems they can solve. I remember this one story. It was in a lab, and the octopus was kept in a tank. And then there was this tank with all these different really expensive fish, remember? And they couldn't figure out how the fish were disappearing until they put a security camera in. And that octopus would wait till they left. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. And lift off the lid, just walk over there, have a big snack, take a big scoop, and then act like nothing had happened. Like, what animal do you know would do that? Maybe a dog if it was really smart, or a cat. But
I don't know. But I think that they're, another planet, another place, another dimension.
Where do you?
I feel more like dimensional.
Yeah, where do you think they came from?
I don't know, but I think it's dimensional. But if we think that there's tunnels and connections to UAPs under the water and being underwater, then what if they just chose to stay?
I just heard in my head, Octopusopia. That's where they maybe came from.
I don't know. I think they're aliens.
I do too.
I think they're aliens. Okay, let's talk about David Bowie for a second.
Okay.
So I always giggle because Nora is my small dog. She's 4. She is a Chihuahua pug cross.
I did not know that, because she looks almost, when I've seen, I don't think I've seen pictures of her and Bruce together, so I didn't know she was that tiny.
She's a potato.
Oh,
she's a potato.
I love potatoes.
What is Melody's just asking a question. Sorry, I'll come back to David Bowie in a second.
Because I'm going to share something too with Melody as well that we found out last night with Facebook.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know
Melody is just saying off-topic question. Is anyone else that's commenting, is your name showing up as numbers and then switching to your name, or is it just me? But if you're commenting, I just would like to encourage people to flip over onto either the UPRN UFO Paranormal Radio on YouTube, or on Spirit Switchboard with under my name on YouTube, and you may not have that issue over there.
Because we found. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Is it a Facebook issue?
Yeah, last night, somebody that has followed my show for a long time was able to send me a message on Messenger that, you're not seeing my comments, are you? And then our friend Howie, or Ed Odell, said, oh, that's Tanya, my sister. There was no comments from a Tanya. We started realizing 3/4, I think, of the Facebook comments were not showing up, and had this person messaged me, and it was towards the end of the show, and I felt really badly, and everything was working. So that's what we told people to head over to YouTube.
Yeah, I think that, there's issues with Facebook and maybe what they're wanting to control as far as live videos and stuff like that, where they would prefer things.
You know what? You just feel bad though because your show is very participative like mine, and when people are commenting and then nobody's addressing them unless someone lets us know.
Well, that's Melody's saying it has her angel number in it, though, the way that the numbers popped up. So that's pretty cool, the way that ended up happening. Julie, I love David Bowie as well, too. Stephen, I try to find the positive and laugh as much as possible. Even when something's pretty shiny, I will laugh about it. My kids even comment on that. Let's find the humor. because
I agree.
we need to find the humor or we will not survive.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Miss Rhonda. My favorite ladies.
Hi, Rhonda. I love Rhonda. We still got to try and find time and have that movie night.
Oh, yeah. It is a meta thing. Thank you, Heidi. Heidi's saying contagious. So, okay, David Bowie.
Okay.
And Miss Nora, where I was going sideways, where I was having my scroll moment. So Nora has heterochromia as well too. So she's got one blue eye and one brown eye.
Cool.
Same as David Bowie, right? Mm-hmm. Laughter is the best medicine. I agree, Denise.
I agree too.
So David Bowie, do you think that David Bowie is a hybrid alien or the Goblin King or both? Do you think he's really the actual Goblin King? Do you think there's a bit of elemental in him or was in him? Or is he like a hybrid alien?
I feel like he probably isn't from this planet or wasn't. I feel that it's elemental. But what was he in The Dark Crystal? I remember that movie from a long time ago too.
The Labyrinth. He was the Goblin King.
Yes.
He was the Goblin King.
Is that what he was? I never remembered his name of it. But when you said Goblin King, that felt strongly. I know there's been a lot of talk about him being ET or an alien, but to me, he's just done so many movies too. Like it almost seems like elemental. But what's your thoughts?
Oh, so the movie Labyrinth?
Yeah, just David Bowie in general. Like, what are your thoughts?
Oh, David Bowie in general. I think that I feel maybe a hybrid alien,
and that could very well be like because there was something otherworldly about him. Mm-hmm. There really was.
Michelle Plummer, my first crush. Michelle, did you come to when you came for the seance at my house? Was that one of the times when David Bowie came? David Bowie did come through in one of the seances that I had at the house as well too, which was super weird because I wasn't sure that it was, and it always wigs me out when people that are that internationally famous pop through. But I mean, what I need to
you know what? So the ladies and I work with a very famous past scientist and a very famous actor, and we asked them, like, why us? First of all, we're not famous, like, why would you come through? So you kind of feel wigged out. You're right. And then we asked them, are we the only ones? And they said no, we're working with lots and lots of people on,
and it's a collective. I have to think past my meat suit, and it's a collective consciousness. So why wouldn't they connect in? Contessa is sharing he was ahead of his time when you listen to his interviews. And if it was a bit of a spiritual path, if it was a hallucinogenics, whatever it was pushing people's thoughts and moving them to a different place, right?
I think probably too, he probably channeled a lot of it. And as well as, they're finding even nowadays, they're going back to in the medical field, hallucinogenics in a controlled microdose, and they can get years of therapy done in one session. It's almost like he was years ahead of everything. Like he had dealt with a lot of issues, maybe from his earlier days. I was so sad when he passed away. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
I was too, but he was a fabulous Goblin King in the was it Jareth? Is it THJARETH? Jareth, was that the character's?
I haven't watched it since I was a teenager, and I should probably rewatch that movie. Who was in The Dark Crystal then? There was an actor that was I always thought it was David Bowie, but you're right, it was Labyrinth. I'm trying to remember what the actor, because that always made such a deep impact.
I know Dark Crystal was all those creepy puppeteers.
The skeezix, they look like vultures and
yeah, it scared me as a kid.
What's that?
It scared me as a kid.
I loved it. And then when it came back out, they've never come back on. It came out on Netflix for another season. It wasn't as good. Actually, Heidi, I gotta agree with you too. Time Traveler.
That's a possibility too.
But I still don't think he was human. You just had that feeling about him.
Something more. There is something more to it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Something more.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think? Somebody said time. So Heidi's saying time traveler. Michelle, at first crush, do you think he was Goblin King, alien, time traveler? What do you think?
He just didn't seem of this earth. And you know the other thing, he was married to Amon, that actress, or sorry, not actress, model. She looked like she never aged.
See, there's something.
Mm-hmm. I don't think she's from, because I've seen pictures even of her, and I understand about Photoshop and stuff, but she does not, like, she's got to be pretty getting up there, and she's still hardly any wrinkles, and like she doesn't look like she ages.
A special voodoo cream.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And they have a little girl together.
Heidi is saying in his interviews he looked, I don't know the word, off. Yeah, Ziggy Stardust for sure. And she has a vibe to her too, for sure.
Yeah, she does. She does. That's where I was going with it. And they have a child together too.
A daughter, yeah. Okay. Okay, so Lady in White. We always hear the Lady in White. And yes. I talked about this when I had who did I have on? Oh, I had a guest on recently. We were talking about the Lady in White. And
La Llorona, that's what it is. It comes from the Spanish folklore, La Llorona, the Lady in White.
Really? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Michelle is saying he presents like royalty, always knowing he's a visitor. David, mm-hmm. Yeah. David Boy, I agree. Okay, so the Lady in White. Mm-hmm. So I said that I have like a bunch of nightgowns from like, I don't know what the website, April Cornell, something like that anyway. Yep. But white, like Little House on the Prairie nightgowns. Because I'm like, okay, so if today is the day that I die or vibrate off the planet, then I'm going to be like the Lady in White.
I have an outfit.
I'm going to be, if we're dressed for how we want to look in the afterlife, I'm dressed in the Little House on the Prairie white nightgown so I can be the Lady in White.
The only thing is I hate dresses and nightgowns. I don't think I've worn a nightgown since I was probably 4 years old.
I'd be in dresses all the time. And
they strangle me.
I'd be in dresses all the time if I could. Little dresses all the time. Mm-hmm. So, okay, Lady in White. So we say Lady in White, and it's always like a haunting. Always like the lady that is haunted or hard done, like had something tragic happen.
Crying, searching for her children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, victim. Kind of stuff. And then it's always Men in Black. So it's Men in Black. So like government, conspiracy, authority, all that kind of stuff. We don't ever hear like Women in Black. We don't hear Men in White. Like, why? Are there? Has anybody ever seen a dude in white?
Like a Men in White, you mean?
Like a ghost figure, like a lady.
They're always wearing black, you're right. And usually when you catch pictures.
So is it just, does our collective consciousness create that?
I think so, because
we're all
I have a video on my YouTube channel because I always pull it out because anybody can use it. You got it up here. Give me 1 sec. This is what I use in a lot of my healing work. And I actually have a video teaching people how to feel energy and go through the color system. So this is called The Secret Language of Your Body by Ina Segal. It goes through every system in the body. It goes through a lot of disease processes. And she tells her own story about how she healed actual curvature in the spine. But the whole thing is she works with color, energy, and emotions and clearing and healing it. And your higher self, she calls it divine superior intelligence or something, but it's your higher self. My whole point is, so I think overall, collectively, when you look in the world, black is associated with dark, with sometimes evil, whereas white is very pure and innocent and light, right? So to me, I would almost say if you ask me if white would be more feminine in a way, though men can wear white, and black is always associated with maybe more masculine, especially if we're looking back to spirits back in the day. That would be my thoughts. What's yours?
Heidi's saying in black, in white, maybe colors are too specific in general, she's saying.
I think you're onto something.
Are colors a vibration?
I think they are.
Are colors a specific vibration?
Yeah, so when I walk people through the video, and you'll know how to do this, you rub your hands together, pull them apart, you can feel the energy. So then I walk you through and I tell you when you're watching the video, there is no right or wrong answer because everybody color means something different to them. So I think I'll walk you through blue and black, and I ask you, is it heavy? Is it slippery? What is it smooth? Does it have a feeling? Does it have whatever? So to me, it's almost like a vibration. But I think historically and collectively, heck, even when we used to watch TV back in the day, I was really little at that time, a little kid. It was black and white.
Right? Deb's saying white moon, black earth. And Michelle is saying, if I was a lady in white, it would be because that's the only way I'd be able to keep something white and not stained.
Me too, Michelle. Me too. But I have another question for you. From Spirit. Men in black are taken very seriously. They're very distinctive.
Yeah.
How would you feel if somebody walked up to you and said, I'm the man in white from conspiracy theory land?
I don't mean like in person. Have we ever seen like we always see ghosts, right?
Yeah, that's what.
Oh yeah. So and that's kind of, I was looking at it like the men that you hear men in black, who are these people that come in the dark truck, right? So the people of authority, fear-based, right? And with ghostly stuff, it's always lady in white and like just.
Yeah, but even think about spirit. So, for example,
I had a lot of sugar this afternoon. I had a lot of sugar this afternoon.
That's okay. Emmy's coming over. So
and my brain was going all over the place. Like, do the ghosts not wear? Does guy ghosts not wear white?
That's what I was going to say to you, though. So, in my previous home, I have pictures of a very black, dark mist, and I knew what it represented. It was not good. But when I've seen a white mist and felt into it, and I haven't seen them all the time, but when I have seen them, they feel lighter and more non-threatening. Now, is that just me or picking up energetically what I think it's supposed to be? Because it almost seems like, let's take the Bible and a Ouija board, for example. And I know they're not the same thing. Now, I'm not telling people to use Ouija boards.
There's probably a whole bunch of people that just went,
I know. Okay, but Ouija boards, break it all down. And no, don't go play with the Ouija board on what I'm saying. I'm breaking it down very simply. A Ouija board is a tool to communicate with the other side, supposedly. And then we take the Bible. Okay. The Bible collectively around the world has a beautiful, positive, generally energy around it collectively. Ouija boards have a very negative connotation around it, and there's way more to it. I mean, we could have done a whole show one time about it, but my whole point is I'm saying collectively, with the look of how we perceive and believe, would that be it? I don't know if I make myself clear, but I think that's why we see what we see. Is it a tulpa? Maybe are we creating it, like you said, with the consciousness around the world? I don't know.
Yeah. And that's what I thought, like, if it's collective, right? And does it make it just an easier story to receive? If we put it in white, does it make it sound, lighter in order to receive the story? So Heidi's saying, I believe so too. I started seeing colors going through my chakras in meditation a few years ago, and I love it. So I agree about the vibrations and colors. And
okay, but think about this, okay? And I'm sure you've heard this. I have. From the way I have received from spirit, yes, angels don't necessarily have wings, but there are many people who have seen angels as wings and with wings. And when I talk to them about it, or even if we've got a loved one coming through and someone will say, is that my so-and-so? And there's been some creepy stuff going on, really scary, and they're afraid, and you feel into it, and you go, no, that's not the relative. But you ask them, would your relative have done that in life? No, more than likely they're not going to scare you on the other side. So where I'm going is, I believe that things appear to us from the other side so that if you will be able to process and accept it better. So some people will see angels with wings. Maybe if you saw a ghost all on a black sheet, what would that do to people? Because the collective consciousness is, like somebody had said in the chat, ghosts are usually, represented in a white sheet to be simplistic, but
this is sharing, when you think about it, most ghosts are presented
in
white. Even our souls, when drawn, are white in color. So I don't know, like I've seen when it's really that high vibration, it feels almost iridescent to me, not white. it feels iridescent, like opalescent. I don't know. Like
I can see it.
Rainbow and bright and shining in all the colors.
Deborah's got a good point.
Deborah is just sharing, well, the whole wise woman stereotype, which is in black. Arcane esoterica is depicted as black, as society is frightened of it.
I have to agree.
Yeah. And seeing through their own perception.
But if you think of us as a soul having a human experience here, right? And one of my things I'm big on is, and I know I'm not the only one, but what I'm saying is I talk about this often, about that we've never been taught to even fathom how incredibly amazing and powerful and so many things we could do as a human being that we've never been told is possible. So where I'm going with this is that I think it goes back to the collective consciousness again, right? Like you're going to show you something that you're going to accept. Whereas how would you change that perception? Like my brain's going a mile a minute here. It's probably not making any sense. But my point is that if we used our full capacities with all the gifts that we do possess, and I believe all of us do, and we were taught to use them and know how to manage them, would we have a different experience, because we are powerful as manifestors too, right? So if we're all connected to the universal consciousness, and overall white is usually seen as pure, innocent, black is sort of dark and evil. Is that what we're either creating? I think we're right back to the beginning, but is that what we're creating as a consciousness? Or is it appearing to us so we will be able to accept it and realize what it is? I don't know. Big roundabout way as I'm thinking here.
I'll let y'all know what white is angelic.
Yes.
Saying white is angelic.
Absolutely right, Gerard.
Well, I wear those white nightgowns, and I would not say that I'm angelic, but I'm, when I die, we're hoping. I'll be that lady in white that people think is angelic.
I'm being cremated, so I don't have to wear anything.
I'll have the gray, crazy hair.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if somebody, the only picture they had of you was from your high school?
My tired eye.
In the 80s with the big 80s hair. That's when I went to high school.
Like early 90s. Yeah. Deborah is wisely sharing iridescent is all colors, and all colors together are black. Contessa is saying, I don't think we could handle seeing an angel in front of us because it would be too. Well, this is true. And I don't think everyone understands that, especially the archangels. If they show up, it means like there's some big trouble about to happen. Some whooping is about, like, upheaval about to happen. Not everybody.
Hi, Jennifer.
Michelle. Oh, wait. Sorry. I just did this whole, oh my God, like Kate McKinnon in Weird Barbie. Yes. Okay. So Michelle, this is something I talk about all the time too. And so Michelle is saying, how would we describe it to a person who is blind? And this comes back to that vibration. So I've had many spiritual people tell me that I'm not very spiritual, or that I'm not spiritual enough. And because I don't put labels on everything. I don't either on my spirit guide, because it all has a different vibration. I'm always like, if you have finished eating a big meal that fills you up and you're in that, meal coma, half asleep on the couch, and somebody walks into the space, and you know who it is based on their vibration.
Absolutely.
That's what
exactly the same as you.
Yeah, you need to lean into what does each vibration feel like, and recognize what it feels like. Angels, loved ones that are crossed over, the living people, the trees around us, animals, the rocks, water, sand, all of it has a different vibration. So I agree, Michelle.
Don't you love
I've seen shadow people that are not scary. I
agree. And yet I've had
shadow people are not scary.
And insist that it's shadow, it's evil. No, it's not.
No, it is not.
It's not. That's why we both have remember Shan Clan Shadow Productions. And one of the exercises I've shared before of his that I absolutely loved, he showed a bunch of really freaky deaky, scary looking faces. But he said, don't use your eyes. Feel into it.
Yeah.
Which do you feel might be good and which would not be good or evil?
Right.
It would
And
surprise you. Not you, I
so
mean, anybody.
we're going to tangent off on that and that thought in just a second. Heather Stewart McLaughlin is also sharing, or is it white to contrast and be seen against the dark vastness of space and our inner selves? Which is a great question as well, too.
Michelle's here.
Woohoo! We have the.
No, I was talking about you at the beginning of the show.
I've seen white shadows, never thought it possible at our manor house. So exactly, yes. Like if we haven't had that experience, right? So we wouldn't know. So does the shadow feel the same? Does the shadow determine an energy, or every energy is going to feel different?
I think you have to feel into it because, again, I agree. I'm very much.
Thank you, Michelle, for commenting.
Yes, woohoo! Well, she says, I'm very much the same. I don't get hung up on names, and when I'm teaching people, I have gotten the message that the other side agrees that if you get that their name is Bob, and you've associated what they feel like with Bob, that's probably not their name because they don't need names. They feel into one another.
So when I teach the Connecting with Your Guides course, I started calling it Who's Your Bob. So my Connecting with Your Guides class is called Who's Your Bob. And I've called it Who's Your Bob for about 12 years now.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But that's my thing. They agree that we as humans need to label and name things. They don't.
Yeah.
So exactly.
And that's what Deb is saying, labels are a control mechanism.
But it's what we need as humans, same as there's no time on the other side, right? Past, present, and future, always at the same time. It's a handmade or a man-made concept that we use to be able to kind of manage what life is down on this planet, right?
So. Michelle's saying felt kind, and it's just like, you, Bob. Okay, so here's something too that people need to also recognize. Depending on where you are at with your development and understanding your intuition and understanding vibrations and feels. So again, with your accountability, with your healing, personal healing process, understanding of intuitive abilities, the teachers that you've allowed yourself to be in alignment with, because some teachers only go to a certain level and then they don't allow themselves to continue growing or continue their personal healing, right? So if you only stay with one teacher, you're only going to go as far as that teacher is allowing.
I always say go to many mentors.
Exactly. So for some people, their intuition is loudest when it is trying to warn you of something. So sometimes, when you think that you're trusting your intuition and the same shite keeps happening over and over and over again. Like, I thought my intuition was leading me somewhere good, but this happened. I thought it was good, but this happened. It's because your intuition is louder when it's warning you.
Oh, that's an interesting concept.
So really, really starting to understand how your intuition. So then when you start going, okay, so my intuition is warning me for this, so I'm going to take this choice, and you start understanding what that starts to feel like, then your intuition gets louder in that direction in a more positive way. So depending on where you're at, you really have to understand and observe and reflect on how your intuition is working for you in order to understand that.
Agreed, 100%. Because I am a firm believer that we have a team on the other side that works with us so that you can also ask for their assistance. Yes, Bob saying I am Bob.
Exactly.
That's just hilarious.
Yeah. Because I got into, I didn't, because I don't like confrontation, right? Communication does not have to be confrontation. And somebody in the woo world asked me what my spirit guides' names were, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I lean in and I just feel them. So I know who I'm working with based on their feeling, how they feel vibrationally, and that's where I just roll with it. So
I just put together, I told you this story before we went live, that as a little girl, I was always told I'd have 3 boys. Now, I lost early pregnancy when I turned 50, believe it or not, I did. And then but I kept somebody when I was doing my mediumship course around that time. They kept picking up this little boy around me, and we never saw each other. We just spoke over the phone, right? Students practicing on one another. And I believe that was probably a third little boy. But the whole thing is, this beautiful East Indian woman used to visit me every night when I was like 3, 4, 5 years old. And I talked to her till I fell asleep every night. She told me 3 boys, the whole bit. And she told me her name. And I remember I've asked people over the years, have you ever heard this name before? Nobody had heard it before. And of course, it just slipped my mind as I'm talking about it now, but it was such a strange name. It'll come back to me as we're talking. And I just put 2 and 2 together a couple of years ago. Yeah, she gave me her name, but I don't know what the names of my guides are either. And when I first started on this journey, because I was later in life, reconnecting with everything that had always been there. And I asked these questions that everybody asks when you go down this, like, well, when am I going to hear my guides' names? And when is my third eye going to open? And when is this? And when is that? Right. And I now know, like, especially with names, it doesn't matter. It's what they feel like. Right?
And it's an interesting thing when in a reading, and then we're going to flip to the next little, because I don't want to get stuck down this path too long, but it's an interesting thing too that I found with readings in sharing readings. Some people feel like that's the gold nugget when you get a name popping through in a reading, and then other people go the other direction and go, you could have just looked that up. So I don't get too caught up in with the names. Great if a name comes through, but I don't.
Her name came back, by the way. Katem was her name. I have never heard that name. I have asked East Indian women, not just women, people. Have you guys ever heard this name? I've asked many people over the years. And I remember her distinctly telling me what the name is. And she told me the names of my boys. And my middle child is the name I was told. My first child would have been named that, except my husband at the time would, under no uncertain terms, agree to it.
That's funny.
Sorry, I had to share that a little bit.
Okay. I don't know what the right word is I want to use for this. So, urban legend. Do you have a favorite, like, urban legend, folklore, story, creature?
Oh God, we could be here all night.
One that you're drawn to?
Like paranormal wise, you mean?
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you mine?
Yes, please do, because I was going to ask
you. And then you can think about it.
Yeah.
Contessa Martin is sharing, I had a dream of a man telling me his name, and then he was my guide, and my dad in my dream told me to call him when I need him.
Oh,
beautiful, Contessa. And I believe that if I needed to know the name, they would have given me one. If I needed it, then it would have come through, but I didn't need it. And
it's so refreshing to hear you say that, because most people in our world, right? What's your guide's names? I know my guide's names. And I always like,
no, it makes me have stink eye tight butt. Like a stink eye tight butt.
They're all named Bob. Bob 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, they are. They're all Bob. And
okay, so what's your favorite urban legend? You gotta tell me, because I wasn't sure where you were going with this, and then I'll.
Okay, so have you heard of the Van Meter? Michelle, if you're still listening, I'm sure that you have, because you are our walking encyclopedia of all things.
She sure is.
High strangeness and paranormal. So the Van Meter visitor, the Van Meter creature. So in Van Meter, Iowa, Bloody Mary, I never hear about. Oh yeah, so we could talk about Bloody Mary too. Yes. So the Van Meter, so it was a 9-foot bat-looking creature with a unicorn horn.
Right up my alley. I love
right in 1903. Yeah, in the early 1900s in Van Meter, Iowa, and all of these people saw it. It apparently had a very strong, stinky odor to it, and it was like a comic book creature. Like, it would shoot out a beam of light from its unicorn horn, and people would pass out from the light and the smell. So it's been investigated. It's a mystery. They have folklore. They keep the legend going. They don't really know what it was. It was seen over a number of days, 3 or 4 days. And then and they're shooting it. So it was like Teflon Superman, and bullets weren't taking it down.
Oh my
and
gosh.
by the third night, there was a small one, a smaller creature, and Dalek-like. Yes. And so they saw it flying away. They're peppering it with all of these, shots. Nothing's taken it down. And they because there was 2 of them by the third night, go down this mine shaft down into these tunnels. Always tunnels, always mine shafts.
Just like in true crime, if you follow it like I do, there's always a Walmart involved.
Oh yeah, Walmart's a whole other beast for sure. And it left 3-toed tracks. That was the thing I wrote down because I forgot.
I'd never heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said urban legend, this isn't really paranormal, but if I guess an urban legend that I've kind of been drawn to, I was thinking about the babysitter that's at home, and I used to babysit a lot from when I was barely 11, and it was like that. There's somebody in the house and they're calling from upstairs on the phone, and you're downstairs babysitting. That was the creepy part. So not really paranormal, but what I have been drawn to.
Isn't that Black Christmas? Isn't that the movie Black Christmas?
I don't know. I don't watch horror movies, so I don't know. But I remember I just turned 59 in August. So I remember when I would be babysitting, you'd see like shows come on or people talking about it was a big urban legend. So there's still kind of a creepy fright thing. It was back in the day where the young kids nowadays wouldn't even have a clue how to use the rotary dial phones with the big long cord. And
yeah, that was our life.
Yes, but you're babysitting, right? And you're all alone in a strange house. You're babysitting and you start hearing creepy noises. And especially if there's one upstairs and you hear almost like footsteps and it's not the kids. You just checked on the kids. They're asleep. They didn't go to the bathroom. You just hear weird noises. That used to freak me out. But now this is a common urban legend. Mermaids. And I was watching because we researched for a show. So yesterday I was looking for some interesting stuff. We didn't talk about it, but we probably will on one of the upcoming shows. There has been over the last few years, I believe it's in Nigeria, and countless people witnessed it. These 2 little boys being dragged into the water, and they lost their lives that way. And it was a mermaid, and lots of mermaid stuff. Mm-hmm.
Michelle was like, what the heck? Sounds a bit like Mothman. However, I'm hearing a bat-looking creature minus the horn. Okay, so the other thing that Michelle was adding that I would say for mermaids as well too, she's saying, I wonder if it's sort of like a tulpa. A certain thing shows up and people give it attributes and eventually that's what manifests. But even with that or with the mermaids, misidentification too, right?
Yeah, but there was countless people, and it wasn't the first incident.
That was with this thing too.
And that's just it. It wasn't like just a group of kids seeing this. And these kids were they had seen it. They kept trying to capture it in the water. Most of the kids were smart and stayed on the side, but these 2 boys went in, and then they eventually came up from the water, got pushed up onto the rocks, and all these people were gathering because kids were screaming. So apparently, I'm getting goosebumps. So apparently, adults and kids, like tons of people seen this. I'll have to find the clip and I'll send it to you. You can't see it, but you hear the story of it. And apparently this thing came up, looked very humanoid, but not human, with a fish tail, and grabbed the kids and dragged them down into the water. And they lost their lives that way. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Dr. Something's Island, where he is.
Monroe? Is it Monroe or something
like that?
Yeah, okay.
Where he's creating creatures.
Have you checked the children? Yes, Jody, that was it. That was the line. Have you checked the children? And it's the phone call, and it's the creep from upstairs. And I remember that.
It does sound a bit like the Van Meter. So it's the Van Meter.
You're gonna have to send me info on that, and I'll send you the mermaid thing that I found yesterday. Yes.
But I believe in mermaids for sure. But I thought they were dimensional. But again, Dr. Moreau Island. Thank you, Michelle.
You know what they said?
So underground tunnels. Is it underground center of the
haven't explored
whole other world?
Yeah, there's most of the ocean we have not explored as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yes, could they really be there? Because you know what? I love fairies and I know I interact with them. I'm not going crazy, but it's an it's an energetic type of thing. It's not like I'm seeing fairies with little wings running around all over the place, right? So I believe them to be dimensional as well. Mhm.
Yeah, I've seen. I don't know what type of fairy because there's going to be right different. But I saw something that I would say was elemental,
Mhm.
um, but it looked almost like it was fireflies in the bush, like a shrub when I was
I've
walking.
seen the colors, and some of I didn't put them out this year because the garden grew really well, but most years it hasn't grown well. And I think, oh my goodness, we didn't put the crystals out. Now, is it because I am energetically thinking that the crystals are going to work, that the plants grow better? I don't know because they did not have crystals this year and they've grown amazing. But I do a whole garden and it's a beautiful thing because people that are strangers come by and they talk and we get to meet, I get to meet people walking by that I otherwise wouldn't have talked to. So it's kind of a thing to draw people into. Now, is it the fairy energy or is it, what is it? But brings people together.
Okay, so Michelle, I was going to start in with the Bloody Mary, but then you have such a big connection to Hawaii. Do you have any, like, have you heard stories about mermaids around Hawaii? And Deborah Morse, if you're still here along the coast of California, are there mermaid stories along there as well too? Are mermaids elementals?
Well, I don't know. Okay, there was that series put out by Nat Geo quite a few years ago. Everybody was talking about it. It was about 5 to 10 years ago. And they had this special device that they could go really super deep into the water. And they supposedly captured this mermaid coming up, putting its hands on the glass. That was proven to be fake. But
Mhm.
there are skeletons like this thing I looked at. There's a picture of a skeleton that's completely humanoid, but tinier on top with a complete fish skeleton going down to the bottom. And it was from a long time ago.
Weird.
Well, look at all the Loch Ness monster type creatures
I was
that
all for that even when I was little. I was
Mhm.
all for it. Contessa's saying the um, elementals are all around us. We see them when they
Yeah.
want us to see them. Um, Michelle is saying giants getting killed by giant squids.
I'm not being creepy smiling, but Kerrilynn, another thing we bonded on quite a few
Giants.
months ago when you said, I'm going to be doing a show about giants. And I went, oh my gosh, giants. I'm like right now totally into giants. Like I got to find out, like, why are they all of a sudden showing up? I have a friend that's from the UK, also a Canadian because she married a Canadian. They now live in Mexico. And I'm seeing so many reports of giants down in South America. Well, that's not South America, but Mexico and South
Yeah.
America. But why? Where are they coming from?
Center of the earth.
Could be. Don't you remember the green kids that came up from the center of the earth? There was that story many years ago. Little boy and a little girl, and they couldn't speak English. They were completely green. And it's documented in the history. I think the little boy died, but the little girl grew up. I think she always maintained kind of a thing of green, but she learned how to speak English. And as I understand it, I think she came, I don't know if it was a dimensional portal she came through or not, but she said it was underground, center of the earth.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle is sharing copper works wonders for gardens.
I bet it does. That's a good idea, Michelle. That is.
Let's watch.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, when we were talking about urban legends as well too, when we started this conversation, she's like Bloody Mary. Did you ever try Bloody Mary?
No, I really I don't like creepy things, and yet I'm into the paranormal. But I probably never.
But we create all that, like Slender Man, right? So Bloody Mary, I would think like because there's so much.
Slenderman's a tulpa. I think Slenderman
I
is a
think he's
tulpa.
too. I think
Because it was a creepy pasta. And then now you're seeing people. I always say, though, you can't trust pictures and video nowadays with deep fakes and AI and everything else. but it was showing up before we saw that technology. Now, Bloody Mary, I was too much of a chicken. I really was, because I've had paranormal stuff, as most of us in this field, since I was a little kid, always around me. So I was terrified to try it. Did you? Did you play it?
Oh yeah, I tried it. Nothing happened. But I shared this meme, I think not that long ago on social media, that if you said my name, if you say my name in your mirror at midnight 3 times, and I'll show up at your house to pet your pets and snack from your fridge. Please leave cheese.
We have Michelle on here. I've never heard of Hawaii night marches. What are those?
Michelle, did you try doing that? But I mean, I think that you need to be open to any of that, right? You need to be open that if you're going to open a door, potentially something's going to happen. So don't open a door if you're not.
Instead of just telepathically thinking about you, because that's what happens. If we think, then the other one picks it up.
But I think
I got to call your name this time so you can come visit me.
And pet my dog. Collective consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, she didn't try. Nope. Contessa said it didn't work for her. Nope. Michelle is saying she remembers them. Mermaids? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I think she put Hawaii night marchers.
Oh, Hawaii night marchers.
I don't know what those are. Do you?
No. So both Michelles, Michelle Plummer and Michelle DeRoche. Because Michelle, you said Night's Watch.
I don't know. Sounds super interesting. Night marchers.
Oh, I'm gonna take a quick look.
You gotta take a look now? Yeah, now I gotta
look. Night marchers. Michelle is saying night marchers.
That's how I figured she was talking about. Okay. I don't know. I've never heard of them before. Of course, my phone decided to try and play. Sorry, guys. I'm now going to see, what is a Hawaii night marcher? Or Hawaiian, I guess I should say. Night march. That is so. Michelle is like a walking encyclopedia.
I know.
Okay, let's see. Okay.
Did you grow up with those stories, Michelle? Michelle Plummer?
Do you want me to tell you what it is after, or you want me to tell you what it says? A night marcher, the legend, known as I'm going to screw this up. It looks like Huka'ai Po in Hawaiian, are the ghosts of centuries, old warriors who still roam and haunt the islands today. I believe that 100%. I have never been to Hawaii. That's on my bucket list, but I have always believed it to be a very magical place, steeped in a lot of legend and history. Now, I understand with modernization, but people that still connect, I think, to the way of life before it became what it is now, and the history and the connection with the earth and the sea, I think it's probably a very magical place energetically. Oh, so Michelle Plummer knows what they are too then. Okay.
Yeah. She has a very family connection. Her soul is in Hawaii.
Aw. That's on my bucket list.
She's saying yes, plenty of them. Most of them are focused on respect
to the land and
ancestors.
Oh, interesting, Jennifer.
And Jennifer is sharing, I felt the energy almost overwhelming at Pearl Harbor.
But if everything's energy, right? And again, sorry, what you're going to say? Oh, hi, Mesh. I always say she's in the future because it's Saturday over there, almost Saturday.
Yeah, and Michelle is sharing about the green.
Yeah, the green kids. Yeah, I knew Michelle would know. Yeah, the green kids.
Yeah, so the tunnels. Maybe we need to do a show that's just about underground tunnels. Kentucky Goblins.
Those I have not heard of either.
You've not heard of the Kentucky Goblins?
You are a walking encyclopedia as well, because there are things I've said to you before, and you go, oh, yeah, I know all about that. No, I've not heard of Kentucky Goblins, so please do tell.
So minings, like all these closed mines, and it will sound like a little kid laughing inside these tunnels, but they're these like little tiny goblin creatures that that come out of the tunnel.
Mining?
And they're supposedly like telepathic as well too. So Kentucky,
but not mining in mining tunnels as well.
Mining tunnels, and then underground tunnels
are, but this sounds like something completely different. So holy crap, you really got to be on your head on a swivel in those mining tunnels if you go down there, right?
Yes. Sorry, I'm lost. I'm trying to keep up.
Okay, I'll stop talking.
No, I'm listening. Okay, Michelle is our Michelle DeRoche is sharing ghostly apparitions of a band of beings who move with purpose to the beat of primitive pounding drums. Some say they are armed spirit warriors en route to or from battle.
Wow.
They show up once in a while. Lovers talk about them. Heidi Goal is sharing, I have a good friend, sister, that lives off-grid on the Big Island. It all looks so amazing. Yeah, I maybe like Tommyknockers. I don't know, but it would be an interesting, we could really deep dive into all those different.
Mm-hmm. Take a look it up.
Sorry?
We can say it quickly. She's asking what are Tommyknockers. It has to do with the mining tunnels, and some say it's the spirits of past miners, and you hear other things about it. And there's a couple paranormal shows out there a few years back about mines and paranormal activity. You probably find it somewhere online somewhere. It's pretty good, pretty spooky.
Contessa sharing, I went to Hawaii over 26 years ago, and I agree with Pearl Harbor was such an intense experience.
Well, if everything's energy, right, and the rule is it can only be transferred from one place to another, you would think that something of that magnitude and sadness, the land would hold it, right? And that's why I think we see activity in places, especially that hold a lot of sadness and tragedy. And I know you know that, but for anybody else out there, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Heidi is sharing, have you heard of the tunnels and all the conspiracies out of the airport? They don't try to hide all the strangeness that is said to be there. My son Taylor actually did a segment with me, and we talked about the Denver airport on that segment.
I was there like probably about 7 years ago, and I didn't realize when I was going there I was going to a retreat, and all of a sudden I went, holy crap, I'm in Denver airport. So and we had to wait quite a while. I was looking all around, and none of the things that we've seen pictures of or heard, everything was covered. I think it's
yes, Michelle, that's exactly. You need to get out of my head.
That's some of the stuff I was thinking about. Reptilians, yes.
Reptilians, exactly. That's what we said too, and inner Earth for sure. The whole world is filled with underground tunnels. Agreed. And
holes don't come from nowhere. Excuse me.
The rabbit hole goes deep. Yes, it does.
Didn't you have a question on there about dogmen? I did. I'm not trying. I'm super excited about that one because I've never heard someone ask me that. So
okay, we're just gonna keep going on my list of questions.
Okay, I'll stop asking.
Oh, I have photos of Michelle DeRoche is just sharing. So our Outer Realm host and station manager, I have photos of what looks like a type of goblin may actually be a golem type character coming out of a tree stump where a sinkhole was spotted in Grimsby. So I had sinkholes as potentially a topic for us to talk about. Out of my head, Michelle. Crazy. So yeah, and I would say like the Kentucky goblin, I would say golem type looking thing as well too.
Oh.
A person.
Yeah, that's what I was going.
Fell into the sinkhole when her boyfriend got her out. They turned back and took a picture, and then caught this guy thingy.
Ew.
Crazy. Michelle Plummer is adding, I know it's been said that we weren't meant to know everything, but maybe we could appoint someone. Right.
Would be great.
Okay, let's do our station ID, since we do have our station manager chiming in.
This happens to me too, though. We get talking, right? And so there you go.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the little bump to the 10 after the hour, I forget the time, and then I start to panic as I get there. So I'm yeah, don't want to get in trouble. So if you are just joining us, if you're joining us in the chat or you're just listening in now, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate and am grateful for everybody that contributes to the conversation and the energy of the shows. You are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the UFO Paranormal Radio Network and the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. And today I have fellow UPRN host Lorilei Potvin, host of the Angel Rock and the Thing at the Foot of the Bed. And we are just having like an open mic night talking about all kinds of different things.
Yes.
And we just did sinkholes and goblins and underground tunnels and inner earth.
Kerrilynn, I'm going to give you props again. You asked the best questions. When we've even had UPRN things like get-togethers that we share with everybody online, whether it's been in the past, like different holidays and stuff, and you've been here, you've come up with the best game ideas that involves everyone. Say we had a panel of hosts, it involves the audience, it involves everyone. She's so creative. I love it.
Thanks. It's because I eat too much chocolate in the afternoon.
I eat chocolate too.
And I have ADHD.
We just decided that after you told me, and I said, yeah, I took one of those tests because I'm starting to feel it myself.
Where they say that the number, like that where you're supposed to be is 9, and you get almost triple that. There's some stuff happening. Mish is saying, great surprise seeing you, Lorilei.
Thank you. You know what happened, Mish? You had to go to work, I think, because we were talking about it last night, David and I, on the Thing at the Foot of the Bed. But I'm glad you're here too. Everybody's here.
So my question was, do you think that Dog Man and El Chupacabra are connected somehow? Like, could... I know, Michelle, you're here and you know much more than me, but it was just, my brain was going in so many different directions today. If they're both like dog-like creatures, can they be connected or related? Like Dogman could be, you know, the evolved one, and Chupacabra was like the stanky cousin that went feral and got booted out of the tribe.
You know, I love what you asked about that. I listened to that question twice. Not here, but before. And I didn't think of any answers either. It's just kind of cool. You were, you know, what do you think of some of these? I didn't know if you were going to ask them. Most people would say, do you think dogmen and werewolves are related? But you said Chupacabra.
Yeah.
So where I'm going with this is, I think there may be some sort of bloodline relation, because let's just talk about dogs, right? They started with wolves. And look at the plethora of breeds that you get from tiny micro chihuahuas. And Michelle, I'm thinking of you, Michelle, Roche, and Joe, to the Great Pyrenees and whatever. And none of them resemble a wolf. No. So is it possible? I think they could be related.
Like just however.
I don't think they're as evolved, though, Chupacabras. Compared to what
no, I don't think it's evolved. You know, like it's that because I had Thomas Seawood on when we were talking about Bigfoots, and he's from Vancouver Island, and he was talking about how Wendigos and his belief system, that Wendigos are feral Bigfoots that have been kicked out of the community. And so, you know, I was just thinking about that when you're thinking about like all the different creatures and ones that have some kind of, I won't tell. See, you do know.
She does know.
Yeah. So like, exactly.
I never heard that about Wendigos. I was just listening to something on Wendigos.
That it is, you know, they've gone feral, so the community has booted them out, and then they just go more feral in order to survive. So, you know, the Beast of Bray Road, any of those things that look somewhat, you know,
Didn't I mention Howie earlier? Ed Odell, I did. I forget what I was saying. It was all good, Howie, I promise.
So Ed Odell of the Rift Nation Network, the Orion Effect on Sundays, and the Outriders Outlaws, first Saturday of the month. Thank you.
And we know Rhonda because she's his co-host, and she's awesome too. And they always support our network. They really, really do. Howie, and there's been others from his network as well.
Yeah, very much so. Michael Rath, it's all paranormal wearing different masks.
Absolutely.
Michelle, like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Yeah, just.
Well, true if you think about the story of it, right? How Gollum became Gollum, and he used to be a hobbit.
That's Mish's sharing. I love hearing stories about little people or tiny people.
We got those here in Canada, that's for sure. Not just in Canada, but I know we do here.
So Michelle, our Michelle DeRoche, just so you know, I'm going to remember forever that you said, I won't tell. And the little kid in me will be like, Mom, how about now? Can you tell me now? What about now?
Christmas morning.
So you're going to have to, we're going to have to, maybe again, what if underground tunnels or El Chupacabra underneath the ground?
I just think I listened to her. Her name is Lilith something on YouTube, and her partner, I forget what the name of his channel is, but they narrate stories that people supposedly send in. And so she'll lump them together like in a 2 or 3 hour thing. And like if I'm creating, I'll throw them into my ears, just something to listen to. Right. And the amount of people that talk about dogmen encounters, it crap their pants seeing them, and I would too. But the thing is, most of them say there's a real intelligence to the eyes, never mind ferocity and ever else. And then I keep thinking, well, nobody's talked about it attacking them, like getting hurt. And then I think maybe those ones aren't around to tell us what happened to them. I hope not. But whereas Chupacabra, you hear different stories.
I agree, Michelle. Dogman, wolves that walk upright, wendigos. But all interconnected.
Well, there used to be a species on Earth, apparently, not even centuries, eons ago, apparently, that had a dog-like head and featured very much like a dog. And they had a language, but it wasn't what we would call as human beings speaking. I am positive I've done some research on that before.
Mish is sharing Dark Waters years ago would do stories about dogmen. And like dogmen seem to be the hot topic.
And skinwalkers. Every second paranormal channel lately, it just seems everybody's talking about skinwalkers.
Michelle is saying my chihuahuas think they are werewolves. Wow. Nora is a chihuahua pug. So she's shaped like a potato, like a pug, but she is chihuahua head and chihuahua attitude.
Oh, wow.
E.T. races, Dogman. Oh, we just went somewhere else. Howie is sitting on his stump, listening, legs crossed like Doctor Who.
I hope you're still not on that stump you were on last night, you said.
And not on the stump that Michelle has a picture of with the goblin coming up out of it from the sink.
So Garar said they have skinwalkers in New Mexico. What about chupacabras?
So everyone's idea of what is like, I think skinwalkers is a term that everyone maybe has a mixed idea of what it is. So, or misconception of what a skinwalker is.
And then the Wendigo is different depending on, I had not heard the Bigfoot theory till you just shared that, but I could see why. And I could also see from dogmen too. And why are we hearing and seeing about dogmen lately over the last couple of years? Is it because people are talking about their experiences, and with the internet, it's spreading. So people with talking and speaking and what have you, kind of like what happened with Slender Man. Is that why we're seeing it, or what is going on? Because I don't remember hearing about Dogman, say, 15 years ago. Do you? Like, not the way we hear about it nowadays.
But I mean, I have been so in a lane, not exposed to a lot of stuff, right? Like just very.
So you don't find a difference, and you've always kind of heard about them. Is that what you mean?
No.
Okay.
Like 15 years ago, my kids, I would have been immersed with trying
Yeah.
to survive as a single
Yeah.
mom with a whole bunch of kids and doing sessions and stuff like that. So not so much involved in paranormal as I am now. So I wouldn't know the difference between then and now.
Yeah, it's like they came out of nowhere. Like people, it seems, from Michigan really started
But
talking.
are they, is it, so do you not find that things come out more to desensitize us to be ready for whatever the next thing that's going to make an appearance for?
I don't know, because like you
always you can pop on.
That's what I was thinking. You should just pop on instead of trying to. Mm-hmm. Sure, show though. So. Oh, no, you can sensitize. So somebody's asking, did they ask what is a skinwalker?
Yeah, sorry, Donna. Donna Marie Rowe is asking, what is a skinwalker? It should be called skin crawlers. I'm sure my skin would crawl too if I saw one. And it's just saying.
Is this supposed to come from Navajo legend, and you have to do a really dastardly deed, and it's involved with black magic and stuff, but you can shapeshift and do things like that? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, or am I missing anything?
No, it is somebody who's wanting to have that, exactly that sort of shape shifter ability, but in order to achieve any of that, they have to harm someone within their that they love in their family structure. And then they can tag somebody to haunt them.
They do all kinds of things. A dire wolf. Yeah, I had two big wolf encounters in my old house, but go ahead. Sorry, I jumped in.
Michelle DeRoche from the Outer Realm is sharing. I had a dire wolf encounter. I have pics of the paw prints.
Wow.
And so, Michelle, you've started something, because Michelle Plummer's asking to see the picture of the goblin.
The story I told, I think I might have mentioned it last night, but in my old house, you know how girls talk, and I was talking to my friend. She lived in California, and we were on video chat, and she goes, "Oh my God, I love your hair color." No, it wasn't purple then. And she said, what did you use? I go, "Well, hang on." The garbage can was just outside. I went out the front door, and I went to go pull the box right. It was right on top of the garbage. And I'm showing her, and she's yelling, Lorilei, get back inside, get back inside, get back inside. And I am mesmerized. Probably about 15 feet across the street, there is the hugest white, silvery, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking about, see-through type wolf. And it's walking very, very, very slowly, and I don't feel threatened in any way. And it stops, and it turns, and it looks at me. It has the most incredible glowing aqua eyes. Meanwhile, she's yelling at me to get back in the house, and I'm turning the phone around going, "Can you see this? Can you see this?" And it's walking, comes to the corner of the street. As it crosses the crosswalk and goes past the telephone pole, it disappears. Now, this is the really weird part. My kid didn't know why I was outside when it came in, because my friend kept saying, "You didn't hear that growling and snarling?" Well, my kid, my oldest, you've met him, he didn't know that I was outside, but he goes, "Mom, were you just outside?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "What was all that growling and snarling?" And I didn't hear anything.
Story. And dire wolves are supposed to be extinct. Like, they're supposed to be extinct.
There was a black one with red eyes too, but I didn't have quite as close encounter as I did with the white one. Oh, Heidi, that sounds cool. What's the name of that?
Sorry, I'm just getting lost here. Okay. Shapeshifters. Michelle is asking to see the goblin picture. Heidi is saying, I just watched a documentary on the Navajo and skinwalkers. If you remember the name, please put it in the chat and we'll put it up.
Good channel to watch, Unearthing the Supernatural with Sean Clan, Hero, and I forget their late friend. They had some crazy paranormal experiences, and I loved how they handled the skinwalkers. They didn't walk
He has a whole, and he released a video this summer about skinwalkers as well too, and he does have that one of how to tell the difference, right, between something that is negative and what isn't, and it's like a little test. Sean Clan has a lot of great videos, teaching videos from an Indigenous perspective for sure.
Absolutely. I've shared him.
Skinwalkers have been seen in Canada. Howie is we talked about this last night on your show.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did talk about it a bit last night, Dave and I. Yeah.
Howie's saying, I remember when we talked about this years ago. That's good for you to remember talking about this years ago, because I didn't. But it's things I would have read about or what we're interested in, but I wasn't immersed in it.
I ate, breathed, and slept it because of the environment I was living in. Right. And I started locally and eventually worked my way out to the world because I was looking for help in my previous home. And I realized we had to be the ones to face it. Every time we looked and reached for help. Mm-hmm.
Right. There's some personal accountability that we need to take regarding whatever activity we are having within our own space. And 15, well, I wouldn't even, I guess it would be. Oh my God, I was going to say it's not 15 years ago, but my oldest son is 31, and I'm trying to think back to like when he's 15, 16, which is now 15 years ago. That hurt.
I hear ya. I hear ya.
We had a lot of elemental stuff at that point in time, like a lot of elemental stuff happening. So we had trees that were talking on our property.
I taught my kids that, and I know you probably did too.
Yeah.
And you know the weirdest thing, I remember teaching my youngest that has severe autism. So, and I mention it because he's very spiritual and very psychically connected as well. But I was teaching him, we were out at the park at our old house, and I was teaching him to put your arms around a tree, especially when you're upset. And this little one came out of nowhere, like wasn't with us or anything, and was so, I think, really drawn in by the energy and kind of the magic around the whole experience. It was one of the coolest things. So,
that's how my kiddos were raised, especially in that house. Heidi is sharing, I tried to find the name, but it was a photographer that went out with 2 guides to a cave where rituals had been performed. Contessa was asking Lorilei if you've had anything happen to you since you've left the house.
Yes, I have, but nothing like my previous home. We did have something, not purposefully, I believe, but we did have something sent to us. We've had some curious bypassers lately. I don't even think I've told you this, but I talked about it last night. Over the last week, I will be sitting outside. There is not a soul around. It's usually at nighttime. And the most powerful smell of men's cologne comes through. It feels male to me, feels like it needs help. I've tried communicating though, and I'm not getting anything. It doesn't come into the house, and it lasts for about 2 to 4 or 5 minutes, and then it's gone.
Since the new neighbors?
But it's not them. They're not outside. Like, I mean, I was looking.
But I mean, could it be connected with the neighbors?
I think so. Yeah. So I still get things, but nothing like the previous home. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there.
Howie is saying, do you think the owls just hoo-hoo? No, they deliver messages and warnings.
Then you look at Mike Cleland and him associating owls with UFOs and ET experiences. That's a whole mind trip, right?
His book is called Messengers.
Super cool. Oh, cool, Howie.
Thank you. I'll take that our energies are right?
Thank you. Oh, yay, she's here. Yay. Add her to the stage. Hey, man.
It's easier than typing, man. I was just getting frustrated.
So. I said that earlier, and then I started to, and I thought, this isn't your show, Laura. You mind your business.
I appreciate you popping on, though.
That's no problem. It's just easier.
Because I know that you were helping Annette earlier as well too, so you've had a busy night on the network.
That's okay. It's a lot of fun. Network stuff is always fun. So plus my friend Morgan Knudsen was on.
Yes.
So it's good. Yeah. But
and so Morgan will be on Spirit Switchboard as well too, I think in early December.
Oh, that's fantastic. She's a lovely guest. She's a lovely person. She's been on with us and coming back for Spooky Month in October too.
Yay!
So, yeah. Get a bit of Canadian content in there.
Right on. So Michelle, the goblins, I got to ask because people are asking to the goblin pick.
Honest. What the goblin or the what
the sinkhole
picture? Oh, okay. So years and years ago, which is kind of wiggy because Grimsby's pretty close, right? And somebody sent me this picture, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, oh, it's got to be pareidolia.
Yes,
this can't even be a thing. And she said, there's a story with this. She goes, I was hiking through the woods in Grimsby and fell into this huge sinkhole, and I had to wait. I'm yelling and screaming, and my boyfriend comes and finally gets me out of there. And when I was down there by myself for about 30, 40 minutes, because he had to go back to the vehicle. He had to try to find something to help me with. It's not like you carry a ladder or a rope or anything like that. Yeah. Anyway, he finally got her out of there, I think just using like coats and stuff like that. And he pulled her out. And when they walked away, they turned around to take a picture. And there's this old decrepit tree stump. And then you see this bald head and ear things like pointy. Yeah. So I looked at that and I'm just like, I'm never going to walk the woods of Grimsby again. It's all about the escarpment, right? Drive that on a regular basis. I know.
So does that stuff, is it dimensional when the door opens? Is elementals dimensional? Is it like, so the sinkhole, did that create the sinkhole, or the sinkhole just opened the door and it was?
I don't know. The thing could have been there living in this tree stump.
True.
You know, like a hobbit lives in the Shire. You know, like it could have been there the whole time. I mean, why do sinkholes happen? It's something that's unsettled, something under the ground. You know, maybe an old tree fell and they cleared something at some point. Maybe the roots rotted away, and you know, like it's so hard to say. There's many variables, but I'm just a true believer that there are portals and doorways everywhere and things that can come in and out so easily. And wrong place, wrong time. Like if you would have asked me in Burlington with the direwolf experience, I'm in my kitchen washing dishes, you know, just washing dishes.
I remember you talking about
right?
This.
And I'm just minding my own business. And all of a sudden, and it's wintertime in March, this huge freaking, yeah, kind of like that. Howie. Anyway, so I don't have my phone with me. It's in the den in the other room because I'm hand washing just a few dishes. And this huge wolf, I grew up north. I'm used to timber wolves. I mean, I'm not phased, right? We're not phased by wolves. You just see them. Yeah. Right, exactly. It's not phased by them. It's a wolf. Okay. It's a bit big, but okay. This thing was chasing a rabbit. And it came out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. And it stopped. The rabbit went underneath one of our outbuildings. And this thing stopped, hunched up, and dropped. And it just stood like loud and proud, as I say. And I'm like, and I'm not moving because I'm like, shit, if I move, it'll see me. Because there's a huge picture window with no curtains so I can get a view of the ravine in the back. And it sat there. And I'm like, I'm going to slowly inch to try to get to my phone. I moved just slightly. This thing swung back, looked at me, and it was just gone. So anyway, Wayne calls me. I'm like, get over here.
Bring the phone.
Pictures. I have pictures I need taken. I'm just,
you know what I was thinking too, your friend about the guy with the stump? Thank God if he was going to make his presence known, he showed up after she got out of the hole. Can you imagine if he was stuck in that hole for 30 or 40 minutes?
This was somebody I didn't even know. They just sent it to me randomly thinking, we thought you'd like to see this. I'm like, hell yeah, I'd like to see that.
So with the
Anyway.
dire wolf, you guys went back out after. So you
Yeah,
got
we went because we were just in the back part of the property. And Wayne, I told him to come. He's got these really long hands. So he puts his hand next to the print in the snow. And I mean, it was as big as his hand. Like a paw print. Like it was, I mean, you think about that. He's got, right? And I was just like, so he's got comparison pictures. So I was like,
wow.
So if you have something like that, would you not have all the other stuff as well too? Like, is it kind of like having an autoimmune issue? You don't have one, you have 2 or 3. So if you have one paranormal,
okay, Kerrilynn, you want to go for that?
2 or 3.
You really want to go down that road, Kerrilynn?
Yes.
I found out.
I love your troll story from when you were over in Romania. That story too. Oh my gosh,
The
you guys
story?
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
I don't remember. Things happen to me all the time, which is exactly what Kerrilynn is saying.
Yes.
I'm a freaking beacon.
Yeah.
I found out after I moved
all are for weird
that there were, in Canada, I think we call them more the wolves that walk upright so much. Had experiences with them in Niagara and had experiences with them in Burlington. I have found all kinds of reports in Burlington of people seeing these things, and there are these long, lanky type dogs, and they stop and they stand up and they walk. Anyway, I found out literally on that bend around from the property that a friend of my son said, oh yeah, him and his dad saw 2 of them one time. They just stopped and stood up. I'm like, okay, what? Then my daughter says to me, oh yeah, one night I was looking outside, because the property was surrounded by ravine, and there was this tall thing standing there with red glowing eyes just staring back at me. I'm just like, how old are you? And she says, I don't know, 10. Okay, so I can't even, were you projecting something?
Yes.
Were you mad at me that night?
Yes.
I don't know. So I don't know. I get experiences like that all the time. But as far as the Romania story, which one was that? I was there for almost 3 weeks.
I think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Just because you have had so many different experiences, we were talking about like a favorite urban legend. Is there an urban legend that hasn't come across your path, but you would be interested if it did?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of them, it's not that I wouldn't. Who really wants to experience an urban legend, Kerrilynn? Really?
Is there a story that you're drawn to? I guess it's not that I want to see, but I think I would want to see the bat with a unicorn horn. And if I passed out from the stank of it, I don't know if I actually would.
I really want to point that thing at me with whatever comes out of there that's magical.
Okay, yeah, see anything magical. I love bats, but having one bigger than me would be kind of rough. But
a 9-foot bat with 3-toed foot impressions is what it left, apparently. And there was a small one, and then it went down into an abandoned mine shaft tunnel.
Again. Tunnel.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you something.
Would there be an urban legend that you're drawn to that story that you would want to know more? And I mean, I'm sure that there's lots, but what one currently?
And it's a toss-up because I gravitate to so many different parts of the world where they have so many different urban legends. But let's just say good old Canada. Yeah, I'd like to learn more about the wolves that walk upright. I would like to learn.
I've never heard that.
Oh my God, Elmira, really close to Kerrilynn, just saying.
Yes.
There were stories there that was told to me by a woman. And ironically, Wayne met somebody else from that area that told a similar story. But my story was a woman used to spend her childhood on her grandmother's farm. And the grandmother would say, do not veer off to the edge of the property. Like you're talking like 100, 200 acre farm. But you could see the tree line. She goes, the wolves that walk upright live out there. So she's heard these stories forever. So when she was about 16, she goes, or 15, I don't think she was quite 16. She goes, I just decided, screw it, I'm going to walk out there. She was halfway across like the property. She goes, it took like, probably about a good hour and a half to walk it. And then on the tree line, I could see 5, what looked like wolves. They had these long, the snout. She goes, and they were walking upright. So she goes, needless to say, I turned around, walked back, and never said to my grandmother, you were right.
They're actual wolves.
Yeah, well, she says that they look like wolves. They had like big dog heads and they were walking. But I think like they're very lanky. Like they're not these not what we are used to seeing. Like, let's say Dog Man, because they're big,
Yeah.
very big and full. But people
Muscular.
have sent me pictures of Dog Man, nice and full. So we know they're out there, right? That you're looking at the here's one local, the Port Robinson Beast, which is out near Port Robinson, near Niagara Falls. And a girl had come through. She had said something to Wayne. She goes, my bridal shower. They were camping and partying around a campfire.
Yeah.
And she said they took a drive, and they all of a sudden they see this thing, and it paced the car. She thought they outran it. She goes, we got home. She goes, it was big, like the total Dog Man full. She goes, we got home, locked the door. And she goes, we came out the next day. There were scratches into the metal. She goes, kind of like their way of saying, like, I found you. I'm like, it's a dog. Of course it was.
Yes.
But if it's marked it, are they having other weird experiences since then as well too, or just that? Like, and then my mind goes in all kinds of different directions. Port Robinson has weird energy because I've done
because they split with the lock.
Right. Okay, so I'm in northwestern Ontario in Thunder Bay. We do have everything. I've heard of reports of dog. I know you've been here.
That's crazy out there.
It is crazy. But so why are you guys, like, I've never heard of actual wolves upright. This I got to look, I believe you, but why? You guys are kind of in the southern tip of Ontario, whereas we're closer to Manitoba, if you will. So why is that, I wonder?
Well, I mean, we're just north of the United States border where they have a lot of dense forests, like Washington State, things like that. I mean, you have, Bigfoot, like I was saying, early in the show. It's like when we were talking Father Sean's show. So we have like our family. My son has 100 acres up there, but there's there's all this bad luck that happened on the property. Like the house blew up, something like that. And the next house got built. Guy lost his mind, bulldozed it over, brand new house. It's not far from Algonquin Park. And we all know there's a base under Algonquin Park.
Yes.
So anyway, it's all woods. And I think there's a couple of neighbors, and we had a caretaker there. And I basically said to him, because I had a guest on the show and I was making it funny. I thought it was hysterical. They said, don't go out clanging pots and pans because they'll look at it as a sign of war. I said, right? I said, Rob, whatever you do, don't go out there with pots and pans. This is going to rip the trailer apart. Anyway, he was like, half indigenous, right? So he's out there smudging and doing tobacco offerings. And he goes, I don't even joke with me. He goes, I hear freaking tree tapping going on at all different times of the night. And 5 a.m, I know someone's not out chopping wood in the dark. I'm trying not to laugh, but I'm like, it can't be. But then I see this thing paranormal caught on camera. Somebody within that area catches this big Bigfoot walking on the side of the road in the middle of the day. And there's caves. We have a lake on that property. There's caves in that area.
Wow.
Are there tree structures? Like, have tree structures been found on it?
I don't think he went looking.
Can I?
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'll go walk around.
Yeah. 100 acres to walk. But then the neighbor, who's a little bit kooky, but he's got another 300 acres. And then you've got 20,000 acres of national park.
Wow.
There's a lot of room for them to be around.
True.
Right? So, and who knows what else? I mean...
So, okay, does there have to be a lot of room? There would need to be a lot of room if they were looking for food sources and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there really wouldn't need to be a lot of room, would there, if we're saying that there is portals where they're popping in and out? Can they just pop in if they're? Hey,
I believe that's the theory.
For the salmon in this stream, and I'm gonna go over this way.
I believe that's the theory that some people lead to because it's more of a quantum thing. Yeah. And try to add a little bit of something extra. What if they move time-wise? What if they're a few seconds faster than us?
So I think that that's a thing.
I do
think too. I'm all about it. I've had other people who have been very gifted, who have worked with them and have said, yes, this is a thing. Worked very closely with them, ironically.
Cindy is just saying it's interesting that they are always seen alive. I wonder if they are immortal or something. So curious.
Me too. I'm with you there, Cindy.
Have you guys ever watched that channel on YouTube? I'm sorry but he's kind of a jerk. He's Canadian. It's called How to Hunt, I think. And people write in their stories from around the world with Bigfoot encounters all around the world. And people have written in that they've accidentally, while they were hunting, shot one. Now, again, I don't know if they're true or not. I'm just sharing what he's talking about. And his theory was, and again, I'm not considering him an authority, that apparently, especially in North America where we're seeing these things, that there's usually within a 2-hour window, somebody higher up, will say, within our governing bodies that they can call that will come and pick these bodies up. That's why we don't find them.
M&R for cryptids?
I don't know. I mean, I have pictures that somebody sent me of a.
That's why I'm sharing it. What do you got? What do you like?
Anything is possible because there's a lot of stories that surround it. When Mount St. Helens, exploded, many people spotted military helicopters. There were 3 of them that took out 3 Bigfoot. Now, somebody recently sent me pictures of another area. This is the recent pictures. Same idea. A helicopter carrying this Bigfoot body. My problem is I'm very leery now because we're in an age of AI and mastering at fabrication. So what do you believe? If I don't see that freaking thing myself,
I agree.
I'm going to be leery.
If it's not a Polaroid camera film,
no, exactly. You can't fudge that, right?
Nope.
I know.
The Canadian guy that saw the giant. That whole thing about him, that he saw it, and next thing you knew, it was kind of like, no, you didn't. And apparently there's a big tent that went up. He had it on video. I forget what his name was. And now apparently he's missing. And he actually denounced everything he had taken on video and stuff, but he kept looking over to the left. Like, again, it could have been a big hoax. I don't know, but it's still out there. I don't know.
You're talking about what, giants now?
Yeah, with the giant on one of the mountains out in BC. And same
That's
thing.
Too close for comfort. But look, they had one just during the Gulf War. Soldiers shot one down. There are pictures of that. And that's not that long ago.
You seen the pictures?
Well, they've got pictures.
Oh, yeah, I knew that. Yeah. Kandahar giant.
Yeah. That's recent in our time. So when was the BC one? When was that? Was that recent?
That was in the last 2-3 years. I'll see if I can find
that's more recent. They're
around.
Was
driving along. And he's seen it up on the mountain and he stopped to take a picture and he kept trying to go back and he got stopped. And then the next day when he went back, though, there was a big military tent and
darn straight. Let me tell you something, especially out in that area. And I'm sure they're all over the world. We have areas like this. Dense forests with huge cavern systems. They don't even ever have to come up for air. Some of these deep caverns have their own bloody ecosystems.
I agree.
They don't ever have to come out. Who knows what's down there? Creating those
I want them to adopt me.
What?
I don't know why you're going underground.
Adopt me.
I want to go under and face the goals if I ever came to visit.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Kerrilynn. Honestly. Oh, you were.
Hello, Dale Quigley. I hope that you were having fun at the UFO Contact weekend. I don't know if I saw you guys live. I saw Michael John speaking. I hope you guys are having a lot of fun.
Yay.
Please check out the Paranormal Voice. They are part of the UFO Contact in Houghton Lake this weekend.
Oh,
very fun.
Cool. Yeah, Kathy Hanley Little said a lot of how locals near Mount St. Helens saw helicopters with dead Bigfoots.
Okay, see, so maybe they were. I can see it. I mean, the mountain exploded. But I'll tell you something. Whistleblowers have come forward and stated, like military base workers, that they have seen Bigfoot in the very deepest parts of some of these military bases working. So I don't know, are they prisoners or are they there in conjunction? Like, again, it's not like it's just one whistleblower. There have been different whistleblowers. One of them got threatened and retracted everything for the safety of his family and such. So you just don't really know. But they're out there. I've gotten countless stories of people who've had Bigfoot encounters, especially up near northern Ontario, crossing into Kenora. I think about it when I would drive by.
Garden River Reserve.
There, see? Out your way. Yes.
Outside of Sault Ste. Marie, there was reports there. And between Sault Ste. Marie and Wawa, I was actually a police officer in that.
There's lots of stuff going up that hill. I got stuck on that hill.
Mile Hill?
2 o'clock in the morning in a 300 ZX. Two big moose. I'm like this, right? And this moose is all mesmerized with the headlights of the car. Big bull moose and a female. I'm going to die tonight. I'm smacking my girlfriend saying, wake the hell up. There's a moose on the road. It was bigger than the car. Yeah. I didn't want to think about what else was on that hill because I sat there for 20 minutes with no lights till this thing decided it wasn't in love with the car anymore and wandered off. Then we just booked it.
Frightening.
So it's frightening because you're in the dark. I don't know what else is in I do know what else is in those woods.
Yes,
now.
we do. That's the problem.
I know. Now I know for sure.
But you know what? It doesn't make. I think that I'm less scared of. I'm more scared of people. I am more scared of stairs that I can see through, like that have no risers. I'm more scared of these sort of things than I am that stuff.
Right. There's a lot of scary stuff out there. But people are scarier.
True.
That's all I'm going to say right there.
Yes, James. So my friend Gar James lives in Washington, and he's got Bigfoots right in his backyard.
See, right there. Beautiful.
James, you're going to have to come on and share your stories.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes. Share your Bigfoot.
This is way too fast, ladies. Way too fast. We could talk this all night long.
I know.
Mish is just sharing, and then I know that we need to go. So Jeffrey can start Church of Mavis. So Mish is sharing. My neighbor here has seen yowies. I've lived here 20 years and haven't seen anything, but feel the EBGBs every now and again when I was
Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Michelle, for popping on.
I'm so glad you joined us.
Oh, me too, because I couldn't type anymore. I'm babysitting my son's parrots. They're eclectuses, and they can't shut up. So if I try to talk to the phone, it's screaming its face off in the background, and my phone is getting. Well, you saw some of the stuff that was coming up.
That's funny.
Anyway, ladies, bye bye.
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Pleasure.
It was so much fun.
Next week on the show, I have a former Department of Defense employee, lifelong contactee of interdimensional extraterrestrial beings, Nancy Timms, coming on the show. So,
I had her on. She's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have her on your show too? So time for disclosure. So she's going to be on next week.
She's lovely.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. And it's about a positive contact, right? So having that sort of perspective is super important as well too. So thank you so much, Lorilei, for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me. And what a treat that Michelle could join us too.
I know, super fun. Super fun. Thank you everybody that was in the chat, that was hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for being a part of the conversation and adding to the energy of the show. I appreciate and I'm grateful for all of you. Yes. So if you are hanging out still, Jeffrey Pritchett is up next with the Church of Mavis. And thank you so much to the UFO Paranormal Radio Network and the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody. Have a great weekend.